So we're going to take a look at how we can use our calculators to evaluate different logs. We're doing the evaluation of log base 12 of 794. So the way the change of base formula works is we're going to be typing out either log. So we press our log button right there, 794. We close the parentheses and we divide it by log, same log button again, of 12 and close the parentheses. We always want to make sure we're closing off our parentheses when we're using our log expressions. So this is, we can go ahead and enter, and that's the value of log base 12 of 794 is going to be. Change of base formula also works if you use ln instead of log. So ln of 794, close the parentheses, divided by ln again of now 12, close the parentheses, and we can see we have the exact same answer. Now, if you have a TI-83 or an older version of the 84, that's all you can do to evaluate logs of different bases. You have to use the change of base formula. But newer versions of the 84, especially the plus CEs like I have right here, and other certain scientific calculators have a log base formula built in. And again, if you have 84, you can always just check this out for yourself. But what you do is you go to press the math button, and we get this screen right here, and you're going to want to scroll down to the bottom. Scroll past all this other stuff here. And if we see an option that says log base, we select that. And there's two things that could come up. If you're in what's called the math print mode, it'll look exactly like this, where you just type in the 12 in the base location, the 794 in the parentheses. And when we hit enter, we get the exact same answer we've been getting. Now, if you're in what's called classic mode, so I'm just going to change my mode to do that. So I'm going to press mode. And so here I've got math print highlight. I'm going to select classic and highlight that instead. If I have classic mode highlighted, when I hit math and scroll down to log base, I'm not going to have it ran as log base with the little boxes there to fill in. Instead, it's going to be parentheses. And what I'm doing to fill this in, I'm going to type out the number first, so 794, and then I'm going to type in the comma, the base we want, and then I'm going to close my parentheses. And there we're getting our exact same answer as before. All right, so if you have the newer 84s, then you can use the change of base formula, the log base formula built into the calculator, and I would recommend that. If you have an 83 or an older 84 that doesn't do that, or you're using a scientific calculator that's not sufficiently advanced enough, then you are going to have to use log of the number divided by log of the base. Okay, now sometimes when solving out an exponential equation or just evaluating a log expression like we have here on the left-hand side, you're going to get something that's overly complicated. And it's going to be kind of tough to type out and do it correctly and accurately. There's a lot going on. We have ln of 3 minus 5 ln of 2, all divided by ln of 2 plus 7 ln of 3. And if we want to do this all in one step, that's generally the best way of doing it. There's two options. So if you have, no matter what calculator you have the ability to type in parentheses, we can do that as long as you do parentheses on the entire numerator. So I would start off with parentheses, and then I would type in ln of 3, and see how they give you a set of parentheses for the 3? I have to make sure I close it before I do anything else. And then minus 5 ln of 2, again, it gives me a set of parentheses before I do anything else. I have to close it. And then since that's the entire numerator, I then close the first set of parentheses I created. And I do divided by, and now I do a new set of parentheses for the entire denominator. So now it's ln of 2, where I close the parentheses for the 2, plus 7 ln of 3, I close the parentheses for the 3, and I close it for the entire denominator. And then I hit enter. So you have to be careful with setting up your parentheses. It has to be around the entire numerator and then the entire denominator. If you don't set it up like that, the calculator does PEMDAS correctly, and therefore it's going to divide where it says it should be dividing, and not dividing where you think it's supposed to be dividing. Now, that's kind of annoying with all the different sets of the parentheses, and plus, if you're not quite sure if there's plenty of parentheses going on, you might not be like, well, hold on, did I actually do all of them correctly? Is there something missing? What could have happened here? So the newer 84s have this ability where if you hit alpha and then y equals, it gives you this screen right here where those look like fractions. The first fraction is just your regular fraction button. And now we can type out exactly the way it looks on that left-hand side. The numerator is ln of 3 minus 5 ln of 2. The denominator is ln of 2 plus 7 ln of 3. And I don't need to worry about bigger sets of parentheses around the top and bottoms. I can just say ln3 minus 5 ln of 2. And again, I still need to close off the individual parentheses. I don't have a choice about that. That still needs to happen. But I don't need to worry about parentheses on the numerator or denominator. So I have ln of 2 plus 7 ln of 3. And now when I hit enter, I see I can get the exact same answer. So using the alpha y equals option to create a fraction is very beneficial. It will make your life a lot easier when typing these things out. All right, and then lastly with our log process, there'll be numerous times you're going to see when you're solving an exponential equation, especially when we get into our word problems, where you have to do ln of something divided by another number. And I just want to make sure, again, you're careful with how you're typing that out. So if we have ln of a half, so you do ln, you just do 1/2 for the half. To use our fraction button from before, but again, always being careful to close off your parentheses. And then you're dividing by a negative 0.000456. Making sure, please, anytime you're working with a negative number, you got to put the negative button there. Though if you're kind of subtracting with a number, then you're using the minus button instead, so just be careful with that. Go ahead and enter, and there's our value right there. So again, this will come up a lot when we get into the exponential word problems, especially the idea of radioactive decay. That's ln of half is going to show up a lot as. So make sure you're comfortable typing in the ln fraction, closing off the parentheses before you're doing dividing by your small decimal.